Government even know how it spends our money. The Government Accountability Office uncovering billions in waste and stunning amounts of overlap between federal agencies, not once, not twice, but sometimes 20 times over. For example, catfish in America, they apparently get the VIP treatment, not one, but two completely distinctly separate agencies funded with your money, tasked with monitoring the catfish. I like catfish, so I don't mind a little attention, but it seems somewhat excessive. 20 different programs, meantime, charged with helping the homeless to the tune of $2.9 billion. Now imagine trying to get something done with 20 different agencies. Who's actually in charge of that? And we're all for fixing the economy. But right now we have 80 programs on 4 separate, completely differently funded agencies, each tasked with economic development. It's waste and bumbling that Republican Senator Tom Coburn from Oklahoma says makes us look like jackasses. And that's a quote. He says, no wonder we're $1,400 billion in the hole. $14 trillion for those of you playing along at home. And just before the show, we caught up with Senator Coburn. He wrote the legislation demanding that the GAO identify waste and overlap so that we could all see it, and then recommend how to get rid of that waste and overlap as last year's debt limit vote now comes up on Friday. I began our conversation by asking Coburn what the report showed us.
What it shows is there's at least $100 billion in a year that we could save in discretionary programs if Congress did its job. And you know, it's a tremendous indictment for what's happened under both Republican and Democrat control in the Congress, and that's an absence of oversight, an absence of doing the job that the American people expect us to do.
The thing that really strikes me, and it goes back to pick up on our last conversation, is this. What can you do about it? You are a U.S. Senator. You have identified this problem. We're getting more information. What can you do about it?
Well, you know, fortunately or unfortunately, I've offered many of the amendments that are listed in here to cut spending over the last 4 years, Dylan, and they've been voted down. And I think now that the American public is going to get an opportunity to see what I said was true, I think that the opportunity for us to actually highlight and eliminate some of the duplication could be very real. When you've got 47 job training programs costing $18 billion a year through 9 different agencies, and we haven't done anything about it. And the factor is we don't know if our job training is doing any good because there's no metrics on it. When you've got 80 programs, let me just read you a couple of them. We got 173 tax expenditures of the same magnitude and are duplicative of other tax expenditures. We don't know even how much that is, but we know we got tax expenditures of $1.3 trillion a year. So how much of it are we duplicating for the same thing? There's programs like $58 billion on 100 separate programs run by 5 different DOT agencies, Department of Transportation agencies. We've got a multitude of nutrition programs. We've got 56 programs or 46 programs that tell and teach how to be good stewards with your money. We don't know how much it costs, and that's across 7 different agencies. Well, you know, the fact that we're teaching that and we can't even practice the thing that we're trying to teach through government programs, I mean, it's just ludicrous.
Yeah, and the list goes on and on. We have $177 billion in contracts granted in Iraq since 2002, tens of billions. The more you read, the more disgusted you are capable of making yourself. Am I wrong to think that before we start cutting this program or that program, that there's a step before that is a thorough review of how we make all of these decisions, so that we don't just start willy-nilly cutting, particularly when some of these cuts, we have multi-trillion-dollar problems, as you know, and it's nice to save a few billion, and it's good politics, and nobody's against it, but it doesn't really solve our problems. And don't we really need some sort of a bipartisan review of how we do job training programs, how we do catfish monitoring, how we handle homelessness, et cetera, so that you have a review of the agency structure before you get into what you spend and what you cut?
Well, I think there's 2 things. One is a lot of it we've already done. The oversight we did in the Federal Financial Management Subcommittee in 2005 and 2006. You have to oversight, one. But, you know, you could save money tomorrow by streamlining these agencies and combine them, and even with the same goals. We have duplicate sets of bureaucracies doing exactly the same thing.
But so how do you fix that? So in other words, I guess that's the question anybody at home, anybody in America reading this is asking. What can you do, Senator Coburn, with our other American senators and your colleagues in the House to end that duplication?
Well, the first thing you do is you force the Congress to do the oversight. And so, which is something we should have been doing all along, and very few of us do it. And now that I'm not a chairman of a committee, but only a ranking, I can't force those committee actions. But I think the American people are going to force those committees. That's the first thing. You do the oversight and find out the information. The second thing you do is you don't pass any new laws unless you put metrics and a force that you have to go and see, did the law accomplish its intended purpose, and is it valuable in terms of accomplishing that purpose versus what it costs. Here's what actually happens in Washington, Dylan. All these are well-intended programs. The motivations behind them are pure, whether it's Democrat or Republicans offering them. What they don't do is the hard work to see what's already out there. So when they hear of a need, the first thing that happens is they offer up another bill to do something to meet that need without ever looking at the other 46 programs that are already supposed to be doing the need. And the reason they're doing that is so they can get the pats on the back at home. And we're past the time, and we don't have much time with which to change this. And so over the next couple of years, we have to markedly reform what we're doing. We're borrowing $3 billion a day right now against ourselves, our children, and our grandchildren. And there's no way that we can allow ourselves not to start going after this in a timely and prudent fashion to accomplish some real savings and still accomplish the goals that were intended under these programs.
If somebody watching this show wants to provide the encouragement to their leadership to do what you're describing, who are the individuals, who are the committee chairs in the Senate, who are the chairman in the House of Representatives that have the power to do this?
Well, every major committee in both the House and the Senate, if they were to hear the chairman, if they were to hear from a bipartisan group of their constituents, as well as across the country, eliminate the duplication now. Just again, let me go back to the beginning of this report. This is only a third of the discretionary budget that has at least $100 billion worth of waste in it a year. Now, if we got the whole thing, maybe it wouldn't be $300 billion, but $300 billion over the next 10 years is $3 trillion. That's really big change. And the timeliness of it is we need to be doing it now. And so to force that oversight, every committee has an obligation to do oversight. Very few of them do it. So we need to get the members of Congress in gear to do what they're being paid to do, which is to look at programs, oversight them, measure their effectiveness, and change them if they're not working, and make sure they're a priority for the American people.
Well, listen, Senator, thanks, as always, for taking the time, for educating us a little bit, and know that you obviously have our wholehearted support in any efforts to try to end the duplication that is obviously rampant inside of our government right now. Thank you, Senator Coburn.
Thank you. Good to be with you, Dylan.
And up next here, merging man and machine. They call it the singularity. Is that a good thing for you? Is it a good thing for us?